Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another episode of Morning Brews. My name, of course, is Ryan Smeltz. And today, in case you didn't see the show notes, we are talking about social media, why it's necessary, why it doesn't replace your website, and how to learn it. And I think this is super important because there's a lot of people who use social media for different things. It's very hard to avoid in this day and age. There are people who say that they are 100% against it and don't realize how they can leverage it to help their business. And then there's people who use it almost exclusively, even when they are a small business, not realizing that a website is very important when it comes to starting, running, and growing a business. We're going to talk about all three of those things today. I'm going to start out at the beginning, plugging next week's episode of the Business and Brew Show. It is Friday. That episode comes out on Monday morning at 11 a.m. It is with Nick, and he runs a security company in Florida. I think that was a phenomenal interview. I think you should definitely check it out. So be sure to look that up. If you just go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching right now, then you'll get notified when the episode goes up. So, social media, why it's necessary. Well, number one, because social media is, regardless of the platform, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or MySpace, depending on what area you're from, is essentially focused on and invests in people. So they say people are the product. When it comes to social media, that's 100% true. Um, But if you are a business owner, then that works to your advantage because essentially what social media does is works really hard to capture the attention of the masses in one way or another. And so once they get all those people, they have to give them something to look at, some sort of content to consume. Well, if your business is that content or your business is supplying that content, I mean, take this show for example. I release an episode of Morning Brews every Monday through Friday. I'm releasing the Business and Brews show once a week. And so the more content I put out, the more times I get pushed to the top of people's feeds, and the more people that see the content, see the episodes, and are able to consume it. Now, imagine if you ran a retail store of some sort, or you provided some sort of product or service to individual consumers or even business consumers, and you were doing a podcast as well. Maybe, for example, you run, say, an electrical company, and you do home and like residential and commercial electrical services. Then, if you are also hosting a podcast, say the bulk of your business is residential, and you hosted a podcast on things to look for when buying your home as it relates to electrical, why you might want to make sure that your electrician is licensed and insured. This is turning out to be a program or content that you are putting out in order to assist the homeowner, because what that does is it establishes you as an authority. And so at the end of the day, they take all of these things that you say into consideration, but when they need real actual help, or it goes above and beyond what their personal capabilities are, then they're going to think about you. They're going to remember the person that was putting out that regular content for them for free, and they're going to call that person and say, look, I need your help now. I need a professional, and you're the one that I thought of. So, of course, you have subscriptions You have other ways of monetizing that podcast, so you don't have to necessarily give it all away for free. There are different levels. I know here at the Business and Brews Show, I have recently put past audio only episodes on lockdown behind a paywall. However, really just testing that out, because if it doesn't pan out or I get audience feedback that they don't really like it, then maybe I lift that paywall. My point is that if you are running a business and you don't know how to get on social media, you don't know why you should be on social media, or you don't know what to do on social media, it's literally just taking your expertise and putting it out there. A lot of my experience is directly related to leadership in the military. And so that's why you hear me talk about it on this show a lot. At the end of the day, this is really geared towards helping business owners. We also have the Veteran Talk Show. You can find that on the website as well, which is geared a little bit more towards fun and a more informal type conversation. But it's centered around many different things, and a lot of what you hear coming from me deals with the military. So that's where I was wanting to put out content. I was wanting to build a brand, build some recognition around my name. Putting out content is the way to do that, getting on social media. And so what you hear me talk about deals directly with my experience and what I know about. So do the exact same thing. If you run, say, a mattress store, then maybe you are talking about the different mattress stores where you can and can't buy one, why you might want to go to a smaller store and invest in the local business. What are some advantages to doing that? What are some disadvantages to buying big box, especially if you're talking about literally buying a big box that you might off Amazon and getting a mattress that way? These are all things to take into consideration. How often you might want to replace your mattress. This is where the person in that industry is going to have a certain level of expertise they can offer to the masses. And a lot of times people want to be entertained, or they want to listen, or maybe they want to learn. And so if I guess the flip side of that is, obviously what we're getting at here is social media is necessary because it helps draw attention to your business. But in the last example, another example would be if I sold candles. Maybe at the end of the day, you're not going to get a lot of people who want to listen to a podcast about candles. Maybe they just want to buy them. Well, another way of getting your name out there, and something that you could consider as a business owner, is getting on other people's podcasts. So one thing I really like about doing this podcast is it gives a lot of business owners the opportunity to get on a podcast where maybe they can't or don't want to host their own podcast, but they're still able to be on one. And then my audience is geared towards small local businesses. So they may just want to know what is going on in the area, what the different businesses are. They might want to reach out and connect with some of the business owners for different reasons. But at the end of the day, I'm able to put business owners in front of an audience, and that is extremely fun and informative for me. And like I said, if it is a business owner who doesn't want to run their own podcast, put out their own content like that, then they have an opportunity to do so without having to do it on a regular basis. So that is why it's necessary to be on social media. Why it doesn't replace your website. Nothing is more frustrating than seeing a business owner who has created a separate Facebook profile for their business. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Number one, the difference between a page and a profile is a page can have unlimited likes or followers. A profile can only have up to 5,000 friends. So, what you're saying in creating a Facebook profile for your business is that you only want to have 5,000 customers. Excuse me. To top things off, you're going to have a lot of friends and family on there to begin with. Then you have to deal with friend requests. A page does not need approval in order to have someone on it. They can just go click like or follow, and now they get all the content that page puts out. Regardless, if you want to create a community around your business, you would create a Facebook group, but Facebook profiles are for people. And if you want to get your business shut down on Facebook, the quickest way to do it is create a Facebook profile for it, because Facebook is really cracking down on profiles that are not real people. And they're putting tons of verification on it and everything. So create a Facebook page. If you want a community around it, you want to start and hold conversations around your business, then create a Facebook group. This show has the Raleigh Small Business Group, which has a very, very tiny audience, but it is still pretty fun. And then the Veteran Talk Show has the DD214 gang. So those are just two examples of groups created around the pages where these podcasts are. So there can be personal interaction and engagement, because pages really don't provide that option. However, your page, as you would see on the Business and Brews show Facebook page, there are podcasts and videos and photos, about section, and a news feed. So you still have all the same great stuff you get with a Facebook profile, but you are not limited to only 5,000 people. If you've been to the Business and Brew Show Facebook page, you'll notice that we have 15,000 plus people on there. If it was a Facebook profile, obviously we would have hit the cap, and then no more listeners. Also, if you're wanting to put out a podcast, the RSS feed can be tied into Facebook now. So the podcast is right there on Facebook. You'll notice that if you go to the page on your cell phone, there's podcasts. You can listen to this episode and close Facebook, and it plays in the background, just like every other podcast platform out there. This is a fairly new feature on Facebook. However, you can't do it with Facebook profile. And then at the end of the day, the reason it doesn't, I kind of went on a rant there, but it doesn't replace your website, because all of this I'm talking about goes away if Facebook disappears. Now, Facebook isn't going anywhere. There's, it's just ingrained in everything. But if you do something that violates Facebook community standards, they decide to shut down your page. If your page gets hacked and you don't have your business manager set up correctly, they gain access to that, and then they create a Facebook ads account and run Facebook ads using your card through the business manager. Then you may want to shut down your Facebook page. You may want to restrict that. It may take you a while to get that done. There are all different kinds of things that could cause Facebook to flop. And if that happens and all of your customers are on Facebook and you don't have their email addresses, you're not tracking their analytics on your website, then you have no way of reaching out and conversing with those customers, getting in touch with them, and continuing to run your business. So start a website. Online Rob is in the comments section, or sorry, in the show notes below. You can check him out. For our listeners, it's $300 a year. You just put Business and Brew Show in the How Did You Hear About Us box. That's my one plug, but at $300 a year, you really can't beat it. That's unlimited updates. That's, creating your website. That's putting all the content on there. If you look at the Business and Brew Show, as I said before, we're combining that and the Veteran Talk Show under one umbrella, and he has made all those changes under the same package. A lot of companies charge $10,000, $5,000 to put the website together. They charge $100 a month to $500 a month for management updates, and all this other stuff. They charge $70 for an SSL. They charge $10 for a domain. Business email services, all that is included for Online Rob. And there's other companies out there that do similar stuff that he does. So you don't have to use the one that I am plugging here in this episode, but I'm saying it is extremely affordable at that rate to be able to get your security certificate, your domain, your business email, your website built, created, logo, promotional videos, all that kind of stuff wrapped into one for a super low annual cost. And then you have a pop-up on there, like we have the contact us, but you have a pop-up where you can get your customers to register for your mailing list. And now you can talk to them. And once again, an email list is not limited to just 5,000 people. So you can talk to all of your customers, current, past, present customers, and converse with them if anything were to happen to your social media. Your Facebook does not replace your website. So if you don't have a website, get a website. You need a website. I don't care if you're brand new, if your LLC isn't registered yet, get a website, start using it now. 5 years from now, when you have built up a solid email list, you will thank yourself for doing that. Number 3, how to learn it. I'm just going to plug really quick here. Ashley Morrison, I had her on the show, I think before it was even called the Business and Brews Show. She did an episode with me. She runs Abundant Marketing here in the local area, and they deal a lot with social media. And one of the things she does to market her business is holds lunchtime tutorials and how-tos in the local area. The one I'm going to or planning on going to this week is how to TikTok. So if you want to learn social media, if you want to learn something, get on meetup.com, get on Facebook, find your local marketing groups that are holding these free events that you can go to and listen and ask questions. And then when you get frustrated and you decide it's in the budget, you can just hire them to do it. So that's, if you run a marketing company, then that's what you should do. You give your content away for free, and next thing you know, they're like, hey, this is fun and all, but it's too much for me. I'm going to have you do it. And now you have clients. That's, marketing. So anyways, that's just one example of how to learn it. There's tons of YouTube videos as well. But I am a huge fan of the in-person events where the old school people who maybe don't know how to internet much gooder can go in there, sit down, listen, watch the slideshow or the video, raise their hand, and really engage and participate. Huge fan of in-person events, especially as it relates to social media. So that is what I have for you today. I may be over, I may be under. I don't have my clock in front of me like I normally do. I hope you have gained some value from this, even if it's only a little bit overall. If you have, leave us a 5-star review. It helps get the podcast to the top. It helps get the word out, and it puts the podcast in front of other people who may also want the same value you got. So don't be selfish. Make sure you subscribe so you can get notified when next episode airs on Monday at 11 a.m. You can learn about how security companies work and some of the struggles that Nick had to go through to keep his company running through COVID. Once again, at 11 a.m. on Monday. And most importantly, tell your friends to subscribe as well. My name is Ryan Smeltz, and I will see you on Monday's episode of Morning Brews.